Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome to another video. If you're new here, my name is Holly Grace and I'm so excited that you caught this video. Today's video is more of like a vlog series. I'm going to do a little bit of talking, a little bit of work. I'm going to show you something really that I think is really cool. I hope you find it cool. But before we jump into the actual work part of the video, I did want to take this moment to not clear the air, but just kind of share a little bit because something's been weighing on me the last little while. And if you've been following along on this journey, you know that back in November, we had a house fire and I have a whole playlist. There's not very many videos on there because I took a little hiatus from sharing about the rebuild of our home. Because I'm going to be honest with you guys, and when you hear that people have had a house fire, and if you've never had a house fire yourself, there's a whole underlying emotional journey that you go on that they just don't tell you about. And to be honest, it is very much. It's a lot. And I wasn't actually really prepared for that. And things kind of chug along and they have their ups and they have their downs. And there's a lot of dealing with insurance and money and the bank. And especially if you have a mortgage on your house, it is not an easy thing to go through. And it took me on a journey, an emotional journey that I was not prepared for. So, and because of that, my blog, my YouTube channel really suffered and it just took a lot out of me. It had a huge emotional strain on me. And I will admit, because I believe in being honest and I prided my channel on having integrity and being honest with you guys, there was a side of me that came out that I didn't really like after I stepped back and I took some reflection about it. I got very possessive over my stuff. I got very materialistic and I have fought so hard in the last couple years or so to try to put that side of myself away and not be so materialistic and not put so much emphasis and pressure on worldly things. So all this to say, I had to take a huge step back and just look at the picture as a whole and realize that there were a lot of good things that came out of this fire and there were some not so good things, but you have to take the bad with the good, okay? And you have to, I'm talking to myself here, I had to remind myself what things are all about and really take a step back and look and see. Yeah, so I took a couple months to do that anyways. And because of that, I just been so overwhelmed. The house is not where I thought it was going to be. There's mess in every corner. They had to bring all our stuff back. We weren't ready for it. The trim wasn't done. And now I just have rooms and rooms and rooms where there's just stuff everywhere. And I thought they threw out a lot of our stuff, but you know what? They didn't really. And some of the stuff that they said they were listing and they were going to dispose of, it actually came back and it just came back dirty. So now I've got to weed through that. But anyways, all this to say, I've been very down in the dumps the last couple of months. I've been very overwhelmed and I want to be honest with you guys because this was not something I expected. And it just really, you talk about somebody sweeping you right off your feet and knocking the wind right out of you. That's what this did to me. So all that to say, I decided that I have to just pick one room. And I have to start and I have to get at it and get that one room done and focus task by task. So I really want to get back to my crafting. I love making my Dollar Tree videos for fall, for Christmas, and we're already kind of in the fall season. I haven't put out one fall roundup video and I really want to get to that for you guys because I love making them so much for you. So what I decided was I was going to start down here in my workroom and I was going to get this space ready to go. And then once this is done, I'm going to move on to another room and I'm going to stop ping-ponging around into all these rooms because that's what I've been doing. So this one's a lot of talking, but you know, some people like vlog videos. So I hope you're not bored and I hope you're sticking with me because I want to show you guys today the power of paint. So I have a ton of paint. And even if you don't have a ton of paint, you can find paints really cheap, especially if you go to the hardware store or the home improvement store, Home Depot, Canadian Tire, Home Hardware, all those stores, and you look for their mist tints. And you know, for my home rebuild journey, I've been working with Cloverdale paints, and they're amazing. They offer mist tints as well. So I highly recommend Cloverdale paints. You guys know that. I think their paint is far superior to any paint out there. If you have a Cloverdale paint retailer near you, make sure you check them out because they offer mist tints as well. But mist tints are a huge, huge deal. And if you're not fussy on color, you can get really good paint for really cheap. So, but anyways, that's just a little tip, a little trick for you guys. But I wanted to show you this little area behind me here. I've already done this, and I didn't record much of this, and I wish I would have so I could show you guys what I did here. But these were the cupboards that were up in our mudroom area. They ripped them out and they cleaned them, and then we were supposed to put them back. But you know, we changed that area a little bit, so I don't have room for these cupboards. But I thought I could repurpose them down here and put them up on my workbench, and it actually worked really well. So now I have nice storage there. They got a little dinged up, a little messed up in the moving around and stuff, so I've got to repaint those. But that's a super easy fix. But it's this area right here with the wall, the dated 70s wall paneling, that we're going to do something, and we're going to show you the power paint. I keep saying we. I'm going to show you the power paint, and we're going to zhuzh up this area a little bit, and I'm hoping that will help boost my mood, give me some encouragement to keep going. So if you've stuck with me this far in this video, please leave a comment and let me know if you like this type of content. And if you don't, that's okay too. I do want to get back to doing the crafts, the actual crafting videos, so I hope you'll stick around for that if that's why you joined my channel in the first place. But I wanted to be honest with you guys, I have been feeling very down in the dumps lately, very unmotivated, very just deflated is the word, I guess. And I just want to show you guys that I'm going to try to push through. I believe in picking up your bootstraps and pushing through. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to make over this area, and hopefully when we pretty it up, that's going to brighten my mood. So let me know in the comments below if you like this kind of stuff. And if you're new here and you're just catching this video by chance, please hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you as a follower. I've gotten so many new subscribers in the last little while, and I feel like they're all coming from my older videos and they're waiting for that crafting content, and it is coming. So stay tuned. Please bear with me and please be patient. But let's get into fixing up this area. Gonna move here. Here's my first dilemma. So I have this over here that you guys know. You saw I did a little video fixing up this area. This was before the fire. And when they came down here to do the spray, they got the overspray on my wall. I wasn't overly fussy about that anyways. I love the flowers. I love the blue. But my problem is I have this dark blue, the light bluey gray. And then when we segue over here, we have green. And I love green. You guys know I love green. So my dilemma is, do I kind of like maybe do this middle part, like a transition into a different area so I don't have to repaint all that blue? Or do I go over everything and start and go off the green and redo this whole area over here? So maybe you guys can let me know in the comments what you would do. I'm going to take a few seconds here. I'm going to look for some paint in my stash, and we're going to see. And I'll just pick whatever comes to me, I guess. So after a whole 2 seconds of looking at this wall and debating, I did decide to take the letters down, and we're going to do something different here. I wasn't overly fond of this saying anyways, and the letters did look a little weird, like the O looked like a Q. So I just decided it was time to do something that I'm really passionate about here. So I'm going to take all the wooden letters down, and we're going to paint out this area green. So I am going to leave the flowers though, because I love them. So I'm going to sand down where all the holes were from putting these letters on the wall. And then I'm going to use some dry decks to fill the holes. Now, I love the dry decks in the tube rather than in the container. I find when you buy it in the container, it dries out so fast, even putting the lid back on. And I bought this stuff in the tube, and I highly recommend it in the tube versus the container. So much better. So I'm going to fill all these tiny little nail holes before I paint. We're going to let that dry, and then we're going to come back and sand it down. In the meantime, I went over to the middle part of the wall here, this little part where that 70s panel is,
And I started trying to remove these little wooden ledges here. They were left here from the previous homeowner. He used to put like his screwdrivers and stuff in there. There's little holes drilled in the top. But I tried removing the screws. I could not find a drill bit that fit these screws. And I have a million drill bits. I don't know what the problem was. I tried different drill bits in my drill. I tried different screwdrivers. I couldn't get these screws out. And then I thought, somebody's trying to tell you something, Holly. Just don't fight this and maybe just leave them behind and they may come in handy. But I did decide the little plastic clip here on the wall had to go because we're going to be painting out this little section here.
All right, so what I've decided to go with for this middle part and for the pegboard to get rid of this gray so that it blends seamlessly with the green, I'm going to be using this color from Cloverdale Paint. It's called Wool. And this is their color tester cans. And I know you guys have heard me talk about this before, but this is just another reason why I love this company. These are their color testers. They're incredible and they're a great size. And so you can test the color and then you can use the color tester cans for other projects like I'm going to be using here. So let's get this on this part of the wall.
So to paint this little area first, I went around the wooden ledges with a small angled brush and then over the wooden ledges as well. Now there was all kinds of little nails for hanging here and screws. I probably should have taken those out and painted, but I just painted around them. I wanted them to just blend in and I may hang stuff from them anyways. So if I don't, I'll take them out, but for now I just left them. So I painted all around the wooden ledge and then I just continued painting that small section with the brush. I came along the bottom of the pegboard and painted along the edge of the counter, and then I came in with a roller to do the majority of the pegboard. So I used my roller going up and down over the pegboard, and this was fairly easy to do with a small microfiber roller. I also decided that for the cabinets here to the right, I wanted to paint out the cabinet side part because it was such a stark white, so I wanted it all to blend, but I made decoupage here. I'm going to think on that. While I was painting, out of the corner of my eye, I could not stop looking at this unfinished window, and I thought I have to do something to cover this up. A little bit of a band-aid situation here. So I decided if I took this piece of old baseboard trim that I had laying around and kind of made like a header over the window and I could hang a valance underneath, it would make this area look a little more finished. Now I don't know if I've said this already in the video, but this is a true work with what you got challenge, and I'm really challenging myself with this little workshop makeover to use what I have laying around and not go out and buy more stuff. I used my air nailer to tack it into place on each side, and then I came in with this same wool paint that I painted on the walls and the pegboard just to make it all blend seamlessly. I did have to do 2 coats of the wool on this baseboard because it was a little bit darker and it was showing through, but it covered up so nicely. By the time I did all that, the dry decks had dried on the wall, so I came in with a sanding block and sanded it smooth. Now, this is where things get a little bit bumpy and a little bit crazy, so you guys might want to fasten your seatbelts. So for this area, I was going to paint this green. No, I did paint it green to match the cupboards that are over on the other side that I showed you at the beginning of this video. Luckily for me, I had that paint color for those cabinets because I had Cloverdale color match the mudroom because they left some of the paneling behind and I loved the color. So I was so grateful that Cloverdale was able to do that. So I had all this paint left over from that. So anyways, I decided that I didn't want to remove the flowers from the wall because I cut them with my laser. They're very thin, very fragile because the design is a thinner design, and I didn't want to crack them trying to remove them from the wall. So I thought I could just come in with the brush and work the paint in between each flower, but it just turned into a goopy, soppy mess. There was paint dripping everywhere, paint runs, and it just wasn't working. Then I had the genius idea that I could try spray paint. So what I did was I tacked up some paper to cover the pegboard, and I put some paper down on the cupboard as well. And then I had this green spray paint that I was like, this looks pretty similar to the color, and I don't think it'll be off enough that anyone will notice. So I put a mask on, opened that tiny little window, and I started spray painting. I was getting some drips from the paint before. and it was just making it so much worse. And then not only that, it smelled so bad down there. I could barely breathe, even with the mask on. I was like, Holly, what are you doing? This is ridiculous. Stop. So I decided to put the spray paint away and think about how I was going to change my grave life choices here. So I went back to rolling the paint onto the part that didn't have the flowers and just cooled down for a minute and thought about maybe I am going to have to try to very carefully remove these flowers, but I wanted to get this side painted first. But then I hit another problem. I noticed the paint was bubbling and I was like, why is this paint bubbling? That is so weird. So I grabbed a little piece and it pulled right off the whole paint. I realized this 70s board panel, whatever this stuff is called, the paint was lifting up the decorative part of the panel and leaving behind the MDF. It's not the paint's fault. It's this stupid 70s panel that's probably been down here for years and years and years. So all that paint I just put on the wall, I have to peel off and I have to start again. And you know what that means? Since this is peeling, all the stuff under the flowers is going to peel. So I do have to take these flowers down. So I tried my best to be very careful and I just held my breath, and thank goodness they came down without ripping or tearing or breaking, and I was able to get them off the wall. And it's good because now I can actually do this properly and not kind of do it like haphazardly and just rush it. So I took them down and I'm going to go ahead and peel all this decorative, whatever you call that, off. And then we're just going to paint the MDF board. And since I've got the green paint out, we're just going to touch up these cupboards really quickly with the same paint, giving them a nice little touch up in the areas where they've been dinged up. And I'm actually just going to repaint the whole cupboard because they're flat. It's super easy just to go over them with a roller. While the cupboards are drying and the wall on the other side, I'm going to start to think about what I want to put up on that wall where the quote used to be. I'm still going to go with the quote, but I'm just going to do something a little different. So I've got this piece of wood here that I'm going to be using to cut out letters with my laser, but I'm going to pre-paint it black before I cut out the letters, and then we're going to do a really cool effect on that, and you're going to see once I cut it out. So this is how far I got in one day. I had to stop. I had to get some stuff done with the kids. But I think I made pretty good progress, you guys. And I really hate to do this to you, but I'm going to have to leave you on a cliffhanger. I know, guys, I am so sorry to do this to you, but this turned out to be such a big project and I wasn't expecting it. I thought I was just going to slap up some paint and move on with it and get this space done, but I really want to take my time and make this work area something I can be proud of and use what I have laying around, and it's going to be worth it in the end. So stick around, like and subscribe, and hit the little bell if you want to be notified when the next video is posted. It'll be coming really soon, so stay tuned for that. You're not going to want to miss what I put up on this wall. I think it's super cool. I may be biased, but who knows? So thank you so much for tuning into this one. And maybe you guys could let me know in the comments, do you like longer form videos, or would you prefer me to do this style where I break them up into shorter, like 15 to 20 minute videos? Let me know in the comments what you think, and stay tuned, and I'll see you on the next one.